How exactly does the reenlistment process work?
All right, so the reenlistment process has changed a little bit. So it's going to become more and more competitive. So now maybe not everybody's going to be allowed to reenlist. Like let's say you failed a PT test or you had a disagreement with your first sergeant. By that disagreement, I mean you didn't necessarily agree with what he was saying, but ultimately it was going to be what he was saying. Or you didn't necessarily you had a disagreement with your commander. Same process, but everyone may not be allowed to re-enlist. But what it happens is once you get kind of within your window, it's called. So what's the usual window? Like 2 years out?
24 months.
24 months is what I thought. So at the 24-month mark, so let's say most of you guys have what, 4-year enlistments, right? Maybe between 4 and 6, right? So 24 months out from that. So at the 2-year mark, or at the 4-year mark, or at the 1-year mark if you got a 3-year enlistment, they're going to say, hey, you're in your window to re-enlist. And then you're going to go see the career counselor. There's one career counselor usually in every battalion. And that's somebody that's their only job is to work re-enlistments for the battalion. You're going to go through and he's going to talk to you and you're going to tell him, hey, this is what I want to do. I really like my MOS or I really don't like my MOS. He's going to go on the system, much like we went on the system to find your job. He's going to find out what the current strength is. Because ultimately with the Army and personnel moves and things like that, it's about the numbers of what that MOS needs to be at. If you're an 11 Bravo, it needs to be at 25,000. If you're a 89 Delta and generator mechanic, maybe only needs to be at 2,000. And then it depends on your rank and everything else. But they're going to go through and tell you this is what is available for the system. And then sometimes they're going to have MOSs that are critically short. And they're going to say, well, these MOSs over here, we need people in. And they might be in anything from communications to intelligence to whatever. If you're willing to re-enlist to one of those jobs, we'll give you some extra money. Usually some pretty good bonus money. So it really depends on, make sure that it all comes back to being the best soldier that you can be, having good PT scores, staying out of trouble. If you do all those things, you'll definitely be allowed to re-enlist and hopefully some options. If you don't like your job, we'll open up for you. And if you do, great. Ultimately, it's your decision at that point. That's what we call your window. You usually have about a year, a couple months, between 6 months to a year in your window, correct? To re-enlist.
What do you mean, sir?
Like let's say your window opens at 24 months. When do you usually have to re-enlist by? The year mark?
There's 2 windows. There's an Alpha window and a Bravo window. A Bravo window is 24 to a year out, and then a year to your ETS date is your Alpha window. Okay? Normally, to get the jobs that you want to re-enlist or reclass, it's easier to do it further out. So that way you got time to do packets or whatever you got to do.
Once you get in the second window, they're cutting it off at 6 months.
So you have pretty much up until 6 months from when you're getting ready to separate the end of your contract. And I'd recommend, right now, given our current situation, if you're really thinking about, kind of wishing
We're re-enlisting folks now for 2013.
So it's pretty far out. But that being said, just comes back to doing the things I've already talked about and ultimately figuring out what you want to do. Because some people, if you just want to do 4 years and do your initial enlistment, that's great. You still serve your country, you'll get all the benefits of the 9/11 GI Bill, and you'll be a veteran for the rest of your life, serving during time of war.